Hi, thanks for joining Excel Basics, where Excel is simplified. Today, we're going to be going over a couple of things which include how to quickly remove blank rows across an Excel sheet, how to remove blank rows where blank individual cells also exist, and I'll also mention a few things that you really want to be cautious about. So let's go ahead and get started. So in front of us, we have a sheet which contains employee records. Now, as you can tell, there are a lot of blank rows across the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet contains 1,000 rows. And again, as you can tell, there's a lot of blank rows. So how do we get rid of these blank rows quickly? Well, first off, we should ask the question, why would we want to get rid of these blank rows? For what purpose? Well, blank rows can become issues when you are analyzing this data or creating pivot tables off of it, or creating charts off of it. These blank rows could really throw off your data and give you inaccurate results. So you really want to get rid of them. So how do we do this quickly? Somebody might say, well, I can go ahead and click here and delete, then go down here and delete, go to the next one, delete. Well, if you have 1,000 rows, how many times do you have to do this? Someone else might say, well, you could click, hold Control, highlight, click, click, keep holding Control, and then click and keep going down the list, highlight. That's going to take forever. Either method will take a long time. So we could actually do that very quickly. Select all these rows and delete them. I'll show you how. The first thing you'll want to do is highlight your entire data set or a range of your data, whichever you need to do. I'm going to do my entire data set. So what I'm going to do is click anywhere on my data set, hit Control and the A key at the same time. Okay, now I've got my entire data set. Now I don't want the headers, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that from my selection. There we go. So I have my entire data set selected. By the way, as a side note, check out my other video which shows you how to select multiple cells and how to select multiple ranges of cells across a spreadsheet very quickly. The link's in the description. Okay, back to this video. So I've got everything selected. Now I'm gonna have to get to the Go to Special option. To do that, there's two ways. I could either click on Find and Select, then Go to Special, and now we've got the Go to Special options. What we want from here is the Blanks option. That's one way to get to it. Another way is I could hold Control G on my keyboard and then simply hit Special, and we're here again. So then go ahead and click on Blanks, hit OK. What this does for us, it selects all the empty cells, all blank cells across our selection, whether it's our entire data set or a section of it, whichever you choose. So here we have everything selected already. If you can tell, I scroll all the way down. All blanks have been selected. Now I can simply right click, delete. And that's it. So at first we had 1,000 rows. Now we have 896. So it's very quick, very simple. You do not have to go one by one. You do not have to keep scrolling. Now let me show you really quick. I'll undo this and I'll show you on the side here. I counted all of the blank rows that exist. The total is 104 blank rows across my data set, which means if I were to use the first two methods I mentioned to get rid of these rows, I would have had to click 104 times down the spreadsheet just to get rid of those. So again, this is a very quick way to get rid of these blank cells. Let's jump over to this next tab down here, which is in red, which screams caution, caution, be aware. So in this spreadsheet, we have the same records, same names, all that good stuff. However, in addition to blank rows, We also have individual blank cells sprinkled across the spreadsheet. Now this changes things because now instead of just impacting these blank rows, which is no problem, we are also impacting rows that have values and could still bring value to your analysis. For example, uh, let me highlight Madeline and Thomas here. Even though these employees may not have a job title listed, maybe a business unit, uh, they can still bring value. Why? Because if I wanted to see how many employees exist in the spreadsheet, I still want to include Madeline, right? Because she is an employee. If I want to know how many employees exist in the finance area, I still want to keep Madeline because she's in finance. If I want to know within this list how many employees are female, I definitely want to include Madeline. How many are Caucasian? I want to include her. If I want to know how many employees are under 40 years of age, I want to include Madeline. Now, Thomas Bryan, let's say he's close to retirement, right? He's 65. Let's go ahead and delete this just for fun. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Go to Special option. I'm going to highlight my entire list, my data set. I'm going to hit Control G, Special, Blanks. Okay. All right. Excel has selected all blank cells. Now we've got Madeline Walker, Thomas Bryan here. Let's go ahead and delete these, the entire blank cells. I'm going to hit Shift Cells Up. What this is going to do is it's going to grab any values that exist below blank cells, and it's going to move them up to replace those blank cells. So Madeline Walker could be a custodian. She could be a, I don't know, customer service rep, whatever it is. Now, all of a sudden, Madeline is a senior manager. She got a super promotion. And now we have Thomas Bryan, who was close to retirement, and poor Thomas, he has over 30 years of work left. So as you can tell, these are just two rows we're looking at, but there were multiple individual blank cells across the entire spreadsheet, which means that our entire spreadsheet is now inaccurate. So if we're going to be sending the spreadsheet to management, leadership, or if we're going to be using it ourselves and make decisions based off of it, our results are going to be completely inaccurate. So how do we do this? To remove only the blank rows without impacting rows that only have a few cells that are blank, we could do this here, which is to use a function. And by the way, I have other videos in my channel that shows you how to use different functions. In this case, we're going to use count blank, which does exactly that. It counts how many blanks you have across your selection. I want my selection to be across rows. So I'm going to select that, close the bracket, hit enter. So as you can tell here, it's counting 2 blanks. Perfect. So I want to expand that across all my rows. And since there are blanks, I need to scroll. There we go. Perfect. So every row has 8 cells. Now, if all 8 cells are empty, you're going to get an 8. If only a few cells here and there are empty, it's going to give you their count. For example, here we have 2, here we have 0 because there are no empty rows. There are 0 empty rows. And then row 4, we have the entire row empty, right? So now what we could do is easily just add a filter. And then we could just sort by largest to smallest. Look at that. Now at the top, we have all rows which we know are completely blank. Now let me scroll down. I'm going to go ahead and highlight because I'm going to delete these. Scroll down, and now look at that. We could end here, delete this, and look at that. Everything else has values in them and only a few empty cells. So as you could see here, we did not impact Madeline and we did not impact Thomas Bryan or anyone else. So this means Thomas could still retire. And you could go ahead and delete this row now and you are good to go. Well, that's it for this video. If you've enjoyed it, please like and subscribe and check out my channel for additional Excel tips and tricks. And remember, let's Excel together.